of LDN. For example, LDN is supposed to be prokinetic. That means that if people have gastroparesis, you give LDN, it should be part of the solution. But I know some people, when you give them LDN, they say that it constipates them. So theoretically, you shouldn't do that. But it's also possible. Like today, I just learned that not LDN, but naltrexone can create false positive opioid test result. And when I first heard that, I said, "Oh, that sounds really weird." But there's two cases of um, like positive, false positive opioid testing with naltrexone, not with low dose naltrexone, not with ultra low naltrexone, because the doses are just too low. But I think with the 15 milligram of naltrexone, two cases were discussed that false positive testing is possible. So, Dolores, I think anything is possible with LDN. And may I ask, did they do a blood test, salivary test, or urine testing for the cortisol?
Good. Salivary.
And how many time points did they do? Three, four,
4.
five? So that's a
4.
pretty good test for cortisol. But I'm unsure if LDN can be pinpointed. And of course, the easiest way would be to get off LDN, wait 7 to 14 days, and then retest and see if the results are same. But those cortisol tests, unfortunately, the conventional medicine doctors do not take them very seriously, and then they redo the test by blood, but they don't do they don't generate the whole cortisol response. If you're lucky, they do it twice, or they will do a like a stimulation cosin. They will do a stimulation test, and then they'll go from there. And unfortunately, I've not seen um, adrenal insufficiency very often, and so the endocrinologists don't tend to take it very very seriously unless it was like Addison's disease, and they can it's clear to them that there is cortisol deficiency. It's a great
Thank,
failing of conventional system.
thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Anyone else with question?
Yes, Dr. Kim, I have a question. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, is it Anne?
Yes, yes.
If you can speak up or get closer to the microphone, we could
Um,
hear you better.
okay, I'm just going to plug my little headset in and see if that makes it clearer for you. Sorry, can you hear me more clearly now?
I can hear you. I wouldn't say it's we can I can hear you very clearly. The volume just is a bit low on the low side, so I'm unsure if you can talk closer to microphone. I mean, what I had to do was I had to quit everything, start everything, and then I attached an external microphone. But with this one, I know I have to get very close to it. Otherwise, the patient people say that they can't hear me.
Okay, well, I've got everything
This is
turned
this
up as well.
better. That's better.
Oh,
And
yeah, that's good. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so I have a question. I've been on 0.5 milligrams for about almost 3 months now, and I've actually just stopped it. I looked at your guide, and I think I would be one of the people that need to be on the really ultra low dose. My functional GP started me on 0.5, and I had all sorts of the side effects, like severe headaches in the beginning. They were just about unbearable. I do dream a lot, but all the vivid dreams, all of that type of thing. But my biggest issue and why I've just stopped is I've just had a really low mood, and it's become, I actually cannot remember a time that I've actually felt excited about anything since being on the LDN. I was put on it for fibromyalgia, but I also have long COVID, or long vax, she calls it. But the thing that it's actually helped the most with is sleep, because I haven't slept well for years. And so I was actually sleeping better.
mhm.
But the constant low mood has just been very hard to take. And I've, gained weight, other things which aren't great. But my question is, if I needed to try a lower dose, I'm in a rural area in Australia, so the compounding pharmacy, I've spoken to the pharmacist there, and they can do a liquid form, but they
Excellent.
can't send it to me because of where I am. She said it will be too long in transit to get to where I am. So, and I also did ask her because I noticed in the group you said not to have whatever it was if you've got SIBO, and I don't necessarily know whether I do have SIBO, Avicel, I think it was, as the filler. But I have had a lot of gut issues while I was on it and bloating and that sort of thing. So I did ask her what else could she substitute, and she said she can use, is it leucine? It's an amino acid with
Yeah,
some.
I think there's just whatever they can get their hands. Some people use ginger powder, some people use probiotics, some people use rice flour.
Yeah,
Believe it or not, sugar is probably the least uh, react reaction reactionary, not lactose, but probably table sugar or
yeah,
even ribose if they have it. But I think that the Avicel tends to be difficult because our digestive system is not designed to digest cellulose. And because of that, there's a lot of bloating because SIBO is pretty easy. If you eat and then wait 20 minutes and then you have bloating, that's suspicious of SIBO. And
okay,
if and then you can test it, and usually there are three types of gas that gets produced: hydrogen, methane, and hydrogen sulfide. And most people, I think, probably have mixed of hydrogen and methane. The people who have the hydrogen sulfide are probably most difficult to treat because they can't, they have to do like low sulfur diet, and that it's not an easy diet, but it's not easy. So I would say that in my practice, the I've had patients who I my real job it used to be go to different hospital systems and set up integrative and functional medicine practices, and then we take pretty much every insurance that we take, and we took Medicare, we take Medicaid, and that Medicaid means in the U.S. of insurance, government insurance for the poor people, and those people cannot afford even compounding. So what I learned is to guide them and say, hey, go to YouTube, figure out how to do a science experiment. If I prescribe you standard naltrexone, and I'm not saying that you should do it, I'm just sharing with you what I do in my practice, 50 milligrams, then I tell them to get a flask or graduated cylinder of 50 milliliter, then becomes 50 milligram in 50 milliliter is 1 milligram per milliliter. If they dilute it 1 to 10, then it is zero point 0.1 milligram per milliliter. If it's 1 to 100, then it is zero point zero 0.01 milligram per milliliter. If they do 1 to 1,000, then it becomes 1 microgram or zero point zero zero 0.001 milligram. The reason why I don't ask people to do it in other countries is because if they can afford compounding, if they can get but in there are special circumstances like you're describing where the powder is easier, and they are able to actually compound 1 microgram in capsule in the United States America in some compounding pharmacies, which means that it's possible that Australian pharmacies may be able to do it, and the Glasgow pharmacy, I think Dixon Chemists may be able to do it. But really, it's not that hard. And what Amazon sells is 1 cc or 1 milliliter um, bottle, 100 milliliter bottle with a pipette that's built into the cover of it. So then it's 1 to 100 dilution. So if you are inclined in science, but or you can look it up in in what do you call um, in YouTube science, but there are like commercially available 500 cc bottles of water, even in the US. So if you have that and you put your 50 milligram and then shake it up really vigorously, then that would be 50 milligram per 500 milliliter, which becomes zero point 0.1 milligram per milliliter. And then if you do a 1 to 100 dilution using that Amazon kit, which the bottle itself is 100 cc or 100 milliliter, and the pipette is 1 milliliter, then you can easily create a solution, a base solution that is um, zero point 0.1 milligram per milliliter. And like I said, I don't recommend it to everyone, but there are special circumstances, folks that need to do it. So, and you can ask them instead of having liquid, ask them if they can do zero point 0.1 milligram, or just ask them upfront, what's the lowest you can make with confidence, or maybe contact the Dixon chemist and say, hey, can you guys do 1 microgram? That would be another way of doing it because you are still the commonwealth. So there's a good chance that they would be able to get it to you if they compound it.
Okay, I'll have to re-listen to that on the video because that's a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah, yeah.
information to
Yeah, I
to
will, I
take
will,
in.
I will put it up.
Mm,
Just
yeah.
like I said, I'm not saying that you should do it, but what I'm saying is
Mhm.
that in the U.S., with my patients who have issues with insurance, or issues means that they just don't have money to pay for compounding. So then the
Yeah,
50 milligram, if you make it into liquid and if you have to dilute it and if you put it in refrigerator, they can create quite a bit of um even 30 pills. They say that it can last 3 months. I'm 30
okay.
months. So some of them I haven't
Um,
even seen them back. I just thought I give them one for 30 days, and they're like, Dr. Kim, I don't really need like every month. I use one pill to make that base solution. And the base solution I use it for quite a bit because I do
okay.
1 to 100 dilution. So
Well, that
I think see if they can help you. See how much they can help you, and maybe the Dixon chemist can help you, or they can. Y- y- in From my understanding of Australian medicine, you guys, I mean, it's the federal system, right? The
yeah,
license is federal. So if it license is federal, then you should be able to call around different states, big cities, compounding, and in the bigger group, the LDN, our Facebook. We're not allowed to talk about pharmacy because of the Facebook policies, but
yeah.
there's I, yeah, that's why we moved here because they were being very strict with what they call bright line rule, saying that anything about pharmacy we couldn't talk about.
So, are you able? Well, this particular pharmacist is the one that I found that can do the lowest amount in capsule form, and the lowest she can do is the zero point 0.5. But I sort
That's
of,
okay. Because if you
yeah,
do 1 to 100 dilution of that end, right? Point
mhm,
five 1 to 1, 1 to 100 dilution is already very low. It
okay.
would
And
be
so, with,
it would be 1 to 100 dilution would be um, one like, and you can control the liquid amount also. So let me run some numbers.
and what,
Eh,
I think there's a little bit of lag. So, I'm sorry if I spoke when you were speaking. Is there? Does it have to be a specific type of water that you're diluting it
Distilled water
into?
is the best.
Just so I could just buy distilled water
Yeah.
from the supermarket or anything.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
for example, if you have zero point 0.5 divided by 500, um, then that would be, yeah, that should be, that would be like 1 microgram per milliliter.
And if you had somebody that was, that met 30 on your chart, you know, like 10 for each thing. Been sick for a long time, super sensitive to medicines. I can't remember the questions now, but I was a 10 for each of the 3 questions.
It
How
sounds like
long
it.
Yeah, how long would you sort of recommend that they start or stay on that low dose? Because the thing, I guess, probably the only 2 benefits at this stage that I had noticed was I was sleeping better, and I've got quite severe osteoarthritis, and one joint in particular has been very painful for a couple of years and nothing has helped it. But the LDN seemed to starting to take an effect. One of the things that I would have really loved is to have had less fatigue, but I haven't noticed any less fatigue at all. Probably, if anything, I'm just as fatigued, if not a bit more. So I think it's just been too much for my system. So if you had somebody similar to me, how long would you want them to be on that low dose?
So for me, I would like if my patients say that. So I'm gonna put a couple of links that may be interesting because I think you have a lot of issues that you're talking about. So number one of the issues is this that once you deplete endorphin, you should be able to get same or similar picture as like a worsening of depression. And that's because, like I said, endorphins play a role between serotonin and dopamine. So if you do a blockade and much higher, and I listed an article on the right hand side about endorphin depletion hypothesis. So if you feel like lack of pleasure in life after taking LDN, I think that's good indication that you probably one probably has successfully depleted endorphin. So if endorphin depletion happens, there's not a time period, but I tell them to get off of it until they feel like they're back normal, and then start the titration, maybe using 1 microgram. And I have one person that right now can't even do 1 microgram. So that person is did a dilution 1 to 100 of 1 microgram. So that would be about 10 nanograms. And that person says they can do 10 nanogram and doing 20, 40, and then they tried 80, and then it's like, I can't do it, it's too high. So I think that you have to work with yourself. The good news is that you know that LDN can help you, but you can't deplete your endorphins and because it lowers one's quality of life. The depleting the endorphins feels like you're a zombie emotionally, and some people say the same thing with as some of the psych medication. So that's what I tell my people. And that if you think your endorphin is depleted, then it's not a bad idea to stop it until you get your endorphins back. And then while doing, and then find the optimal dose for yourself, and then slowly titrate or stay in the low dose. There's no, I think that the worst thing that we've done is that we have this myth we created 1.5 to 4.5. And when I first started, I did 1.5, and I saw too many problems with that. So I dropped to zero point 0.5, and LDN Research Trust interviewed me, and I think our field moved to zero point 0.5 now. But in my own practice, I've gone to zero point 0.1. And then lately, I've seen people who are all endorphin depleted. I think that our society is becoming endorphin depleted. We're seeing more and more of it, and has to do with our lifestyle, stress, and this thing that everyone knows what this is, right? This thing,
Yeah.
I think, also easy to deplete dopamine. So once you deplete dopamine, then endorphins have to kick in and say, okay, the dopamine has gone reduced, and I need to like increase my presence because the dopamine is gone, and I need to help out. So that's I think that's what our body is, and endorphin is like our serotonin is depleted, endorphin is depleted. So the endorphin is like, oh, I'm gonna have to carry this entire system until they pick up. And then what happens is that we take naltrexone, and when Dr. Bihari did this 40 years ago, 50 years ago, no problem, because I think people had more endorphin then. We don't have it as much. And after COVID, I've noticed, I think there's a population wide endorphin deficiency, population wide mast cell activation syndrome, population wide immune derangement, and the serotonin wise were depleted. And that has to do with another thing is that when I was younger, and probably some of you may be able to corroborate, is that our parents didn't celebrate when we stayed up all night, and we didn't have all these different electronic devices, and TV stations shut themselves down at whatever time they shut themselves down. And if we had lights on all night reading, we got scolded. Is it's nighttime for sleeping. So our and the reason I bring that is that regular sleeping is serotonin melatonin balance, and we're like destroying it. And that's why I like to use methylene blue and LDN together, because LDN, in theory, should or could enhance sleeping, and it helps people to fall asleep. It helps people to dream. But after COVID, I'm seeing that LDN can cause insomnia because they're getting that paradoxical reaction that I was talking about. So now I've lost a useful tool. If some people say they have insomnia and then they take it in the morning, which means that they won't get the benefit. And the paradoxical effect of that is that some people, you give them in the morning, they're tired because because of that sleep cycle. So I think that one of the things that I say, why, if your situation is easy, then it's really easy. Once your situation is not easy, then I think that there is a role of finding someone um, that can understand and dig a little deeper. But if you don't have that, then methylene blue, I think, is a good tool for my patients. And I tell them LDN is fantastic for brain protection, also for immune modulation and reducing inflammation and neuroinflammation. Methylene blue is fantastic for the mitochondria reset. Um, I think as we age, even long COVID can poison or degrade the function of mitochondria. So the methylene blue can be helpful. And then the other part of methylene blue is that we all have hidden infections. We don't like to admit it, but when I do testing on individuals, I've not seen one person that doesn't have a hidden infection. So we all probably have it. So methylene blue in higher doses actually kill um, it 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 can take care of I call it oral IV vitamin C, because it's non-discriminatory. Anything that shouldn't be there, it goes ahead and kills. And then the last thing it can do is it supercharges the serotonin system. That's why if you're on antidepressant, you cannot take methylene blue, which means for certain people who are not going to take antidepressant, methylene blue can be like life saving.
And is that something that you can buy on Amazon or somewhere like that? Say, was it Amazon? You were saying that you could buy the pipette and that sort of thing. Like, is that something you could buy safely there? I have heard of methylene blue before, but I've not looked into it.
Well, I don't know. Every country has different rules, and Europeans and I think Australians have a bit stronger ruling rules than the U.S. U.S. doesn't. U.S. I think we're like Wild West. So anything you can make money, you can sell it. I mean, um, blue,
Yeah,
blue.
the regulations are quite strict here, but I guess, and I have
We're not.
bought things,
Yeah. So they have
but I've
pharmaceutical grade methylene blue, and I don't know what that means. But this is a product. This is a company that um, our clinic uses, the clinic that I'm working for, use this brand. And
And
let me
would they stand up to international transport though? Like I just think of seeing, pictures of a plane with all the ports sitting out in the sun and all that type of thing. Would they be deteriorated being sent
No, I don't
internationally?
think so. I don't think methylene blue is stable, and methylene blue is they've used methylene blue, um, you know, uh, and Dolores has asked me, the safest is probably compounding pharmacy is the safest, if they make it.
Yeah.
And but the other part of this is that everyone has to decide. I mean, anything the compounding people touch is like hundreds of dollars, or $100 for a 90-day supply. And methylene blue, you have to take 2 times, 3 times a day. So that means $300. So I've just, for myself, I'm relying on my clinic to point the way, because the owners are pretty savvy in this. So this is a brand. It's a European brand, and actually, because it's a European brand, I trust it more. Isn't
Yeah.
that sad?
Well,
But
it's pretty expensive here through the compounding pharmacy,
no,
90
no,
to
it's the same problem. It's like
Yeah,
easily $300 if you take 3 times a day. So
yeah.
I talked to my boss, and she says that she likes this company. So since she likes that company, then I trust her. So I that's the one that I buy.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Kim. I really appreciate you answering my questions.
Absolutely. And we had this issue with microphone. So I'm so glad that Dolores spoke up and said there was a problem, and we were able to address it.
I'm
Yeah,
actually in a rural area, and anything Zoom or any webinar, well, Zoom mainly because webinar it wouldn't matter. But unfortunately, I need to keep my video off, and I wonder whether that may have
It's
helped with
okay.
your
It's okay.
situation.
The only,
Because,
at least
well,
as long as I have my video on, I think it'll be fine. It's just,
yeah, okay.
yeah. And I appreciate everyone. Chris, did you wanted to say something before we finished?
I did, yeah, if I
Yeah.
could. Thank you, Dr. Kim. Yeah, so I'm new to the group. I think just a day into the group. And in fact, I'm only a couple of hours away from having received a message from my PCP about having put in an order for LDN for myself. I did see in the group chat that there was that scoring system that was mentioned previously in terms of sensitivity to medication and that kind of thing. So I have some work to do there. That being said, I just looked at the note that I received from my PCP. She had recommend 1 week on half a milligram, next week 2 on 1 milligram, week 3 on 1.5. Does that sound about right?
Well, there's this article that they're talking about that you can find, and I can post it, and then you can take a look at it and decide, because um, that's probably the best way, because I don't know you, and you already have a doctor, and they've already have an opinion. Unfortunately, I have a feeling that they don't know. I mean, they are open-minded, but they may not be an expert in LDN. And this is one area of medicine that I know quite a bit about, but I'm still learning every day. And actually, when people ask me why do I do this, is that now I can't really learn from books as much. So I'm learning from all of you. Let me find the link to that, and then let me post it up. And it's called "Finding Your Sweet Spot and Simple Guide."
Got it. Okay. All right. I
And
appreciate
then,
that.
yeah,
And
I'm
then,
linking. Okay, so it's I uploaded it. Okay.
all right, perfect, perfect. And then I guess one follow-up question is there any, and I, again, have just being new to this whole concept, is there any negative interaction between? Well, we talked about sleep came up a couple of times. I haven't slept
Mhm.
well, and I don't know how long. But I do. I have found that cannabis helps me sleep. Is there any negative interaction between LDN and cannabis?
I think they're supposed to help each other. That's what
I see.
that's my understanding is.
Okay.
So not, I don't think there is a side effect, but like I said, you will, and I'm putting my YouTube channel on my LDN YouTube channel, which I cover a lot of the side effects. So you can go there and look for it, or you can just type in my name, Yunhang Kim, LDN side effects, and it should come up. So
Okay.
here's
Got
my
it.
YouTube channel, and I record as much because there's I've done enough recording that it just repeats itself, if you know what I mean, Chris. So
Yeah, I
even
know
in
what you mean.
these session, it's all most of it is repetition. I mean, Dolores brought like a very very interesting point of asking about cortisol and LDN, and even though it's supposed to increase cortisol, um, paradoxic things can be seen depending on individual. So, Chris, let us know how you're doing, and tomorrow there will not be a session. I have to get haircut.
Mhm. Yeah,
So
it's just it's funny because ever since I started to take cannabis, and I take it only at night, just to help me sleep. But I can't remember the last time I dreamed. So just this
yeah,
the idea of a vivid dream is actually quite exciting for me.
and the thing is that that the dreaming is really important because that's a REM sleep, and Michael Jackson is supposed to have said that he used propofol. Propofol puts you to sleep, but you get dreamless sleep. So then one can feel like zombie
Mm,
while awake, and that's not a very satisfying feeling. And sleep is critical to, and I would say for methylene blue, what's it's really done is supercharge my serotonin system, which balances melatonin system. And even in my patients, I've noticed that melatonin can't do its job without the serotonin system being uh, like supercharged.
hmm, interesting. I hadn't heard of methylene blue until this conversation, so I'm happy to have joined today.
Oh, I'll go. I'll put my blog, and then you can. There are several articles on methylene blue. And my blog is ifmsynergy.com. That's my blog. And then
Terrific.
you can subscribe for it, or you can search for Methylene Blue. All right, everyone, have a great weekend.
Thank you, Dr. Kim. Thanks,
Yeah.
everybody.
Dolores, thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you too. I'm learning a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Anne talked about
Thank you very
endorphin.
much for your guys'
Thank,
time.
it's my pleasure. And just look at our my blog. I have several articles on endorphins, and so that would be helpful. I hope. Okay, everyone, have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.